Hi, friends. Welcome again to Soaring Through Chaos. And the reason we have this series is because we are in the midst of very interesting and chaotic times, the pandemic. And along with the pandemic, the fear of loss of life, the fear of disease, is the fear of jobs. A lot of jobs are just not there, or a lot of things are changing in the economy. And there's a lot of finger pointing, like who is doing all these bad things. But it's time we consider how we can all get together. So I was at the beginning of the pandemic, I was in Mexico, and particularly close to Ciudad de Mexico, which is the capital, in a place called Cuernavaca. And for the first 1 month, even I was so stunned, I didn't talk to anybody. And then my neighbors came by and said, Amigo, how are you? And one of the first people I talked to was Pablo. Pablo, tell us about you. It was so nice to have gotten to know you through the process of living in Cuernavaca for 3 months. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, thank you, Shankar. Yeah, I remember I came back from Vancouver and I saw that someone was living in that house because I thought someone was moving or turning on the lights. And I was like, oh, who knows? Who knows who that is? And then one day I saw you at the pool swimming. You were enjoying yourself a lot. And I was like, okay, so this is that guy. And I thought you might be from India or somewhere else. So the night that we met you outside of the Briviesca's house with Liz, Toño, and Diego was there, and we finally met. It was really nice to connect and then got to know each other over the next month.
And you were all my family away from home. Wow, Cat is here too.
Yeah,
You
her
all
name is
became my
Mia.
family in Mexico. And I was
Yes.
learning Espanol, and I think I came up to about 5,000 words, but still difficult
Oh
to make
yeah.
sentences. Yeah, all the cognates, all the cognates.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to learn if you're in the country.
Yeah. And it was really, really nice getting to know everybody. There's so much art there. There's so much heart there. And I had no idea what Mexico was really. Before I'd come to Mexico, I'd go on a cruise and I would just be in the cruise or I would be, in a resort. And that's not the real Mexico. The real Mexico is meeting people who live there and you have traveled to many countries besides Mexico, right? You have lived in USA, America, and
Yes.
Canada.
Yes. Yeah, I lived in the US maybe 7 years,
Oh,
from when I
really?
was 13 to 19, more or 18, more or less. Um, and then this year I came back from living in Vancouver for 2 years, in Canada, and now I'm back in Mexico, and I think I will be here
And
from
what
now
took
on.
you to Vancouver?
To Vancouver, I studied documentary filmmaking in Vancouver, um, and then I just wanted to also experience that outside of Mexico, to have fresh air. Or I was attracted to the forests of Canada.
Yeah.
They're very, very, very beautiful. They really take care of them. They're very clean. Unlike here in Mexico, a lot of them are full of trash. And the waterfalls in the forest, they're amazing, with crystal blue green water that you can swim.
I
Uh,
love
get
Whistler.
it.
Whistler is beautiful, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's like 2 hours away from Vancouver.
Yeah. You must have
Yeah.
traveled around Mexico, Canada a lot. The Banff and
Y- Yeah, I went to Banff. Banff, oh, Shankar, Banff is. I just, I know. I was thinking the other day. Sometimes I'm more in the mood of the ocean, being in the ocean. But sometimes, and when I was in Vancouver, I was much in the mood of being in the mountains.
yeah.
And Banff, it's basically all mountains.
All
And that it's very
mountains.
beautiful. Yes.
Wow. So, and you were in America for a while, and what were you doing when you were in the United States?
Yeah. In the United States, I lived 1 year in Virginia, in the state of Virginia, and that was on the 7th grade. I went by myself to learn English, and then my whole family the next year moved to Texas, where
Mhm.
I lived for 2 years, and then I did my whole high school in Kentucky, the state of Kentucky. And then I started university in Chicago, and then that's when I decided I no longer wanted to live in the US. I wanted to come back to Mexico, so I moved back.
What prompted you to come back to Mexico? There are a lot of people who like one place more than the other. What prompted you to say, I want to go back to Mexico?
No, I think it was there was a part of me that wanted to go back to my roots, where I was from, where I grew up, and I felt like those 7 years uh, I was beginning to feel disconnected from where I came from in Mexico.
Uh,
So I wanted to reconnect with that. So I decided to get out of university in Chicago and to transfer to Mexico, where I initially started to live with my older brother, and then I applied to university, and then I did some of the university in Mexico City.
and so you're with Ernesto, is that right?
Yeah, I lived with him for maybe 6 months.
Wow, Ernesto is amazing.
Yes, yes, he is.
And Pedrito, your little brother, he's amazing too. I just
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I was like, I remember cooking Indian food, and you guys were the first ones to taste my Indian food. I'd never cooked Indian food in my life so much. So you were the
You
first
never
to
cooked. You never cooked as
before.
much Indian food since you were here in Cuernavaca.
Now I cook regularly in India also, but I cooked the most when I was in Cuernavaca because, as you know, Rosario fell sick, so I had to learn to cook. So I cooked Indian food and I mixed it with Mexican spices, Mexican vegetables like avocado and all those Peruvian beans and what is it? All the different kinds of beans. The yeah, I learned to cook with Indian food with Mexican vegetables and Mexican peas and all that.
Oh, that's
It was a lot of fun.
you could. Yeah, I think from the first time that we ate with you, it progressed. It got better
That's
every
true.
time.
That's true. I was learning, and you guys were the first guinea pigs, you know. Because
I feel honored.
I was like, they don't know Indian food, so I can experiment with them. But you guys liked it, and you said what you liked, and then I learned more and more. So
Yes.
yeah, it was an honor to be there, and
Yeah. For me, it was very surreal at one moment that all of us got together. It felt so perfect. Like,
yeah, you all came
yeah,
back
so
from
synchronistic.
synchronicity. Literally, you came back from Vancouver, and your brother Ernesto came back, and and Ambar was visiting, and then your friend, what's his name, Rodrigo,
Yeah. Well,
Diego.
Diego was here.
Yeah, it was just, we were like a bunch of friends, and it felt like we've known each other for
Yeah.
lifetimes.
Yeah, it did. And the fact that you were able to connect us with Ann Watts, and all of us have heard Alan Watts' recordings or conferences, it was for me
That
like,
really
what's happening?
surprised me because I'm a big fan of Alan Watts. He was the first Westerner to study Indian philosophy, yoga, meditation, Hindu and Buddhist thought, and talk about that, and wrote a number of books, and he created a number of videos. And what surprised me was to find that there was a big following and study group around Alan Watts' teachings. How did you get into that? How did you get into Alan Watts and Sadhguru and all kinds of people like that?
Um, well, it started just before I wanted to move back to Mexico. It was part of it. Um, so I started university in Chicago, and I was having like a lot of changes in myself, and I was opening up to more to life. I was opening more to life. So with this happening, I also wanted to step out from that environment that I was in the university. I didn't feel right there. So that was also part of why I decided to move back. And when I was there, I don't know, I don't remember the day, but one of the first persons that I listened to that introduced me to what I was feeling. Alan Watts for me was someone that put words to what I was feeling inside. So I remember I was feeling all this and I didn't know what to do. It was all new to me. So I don't know, one day maybe I got on YouTube and maybe I don't know, I wrote how I felt, and Alan Watts' video came up and I listened to it and I felt I was intrigued. I was so captivated by the way that he spoke, and there was like an innocence in whatever he said. I could feel that there was some truth to it.
And fortunately for all of us, I was also a student of Anne Watts, his daughter, his second daughter. And Anne is a very, very compassionate person. So I said, okay, let me try calling Anne Watts. And sure enough, she responded. And within a week, we were on video call, on video Zoom call, talking to Anne Watts for about an hour and understanding. She was very surprised that Alan Watts had a following in Mexico, in Cuernavaca. And
Oh, he does. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
And
yeah, people know, I think people know Alan Watts basically all over the world.
that is amazing. That's true. So one of the things I noticed, I remember, was when you were in Vancouver, you were studying videos and like media, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I like to make videos.
And have you made any recently, anything that you can share?
Yes. I don't know if I can share it to the screen yet because it's not out in the internet
Oh,
yet.
okay.
But so I edited a dance film for this woman who has a studio in Mexico City of ballet and maybe contemporary dance. I'm not sure if that's right, but she asked me because of the quarantine that her and her group wanted to do a dance, each girl dancing at home. And so they all filmed videos at home dancing, like 50 different girls from all ages. And she asked me to edit all those videos to make a compilation of the quarantine.
That
And
would be
with this,
wonderful.
yeah, with this
A
concept of
dance
infinite.
collection. Wow. Would
Yeah,
you
like a
give me a
dance
show?
collection.
Wow.
Huh?
And I love dancing. So
Yeah, I wanted to ask you also because I think you like to dance and I think your dancing videos. When did you started to dance and why do you like it so much?
I started in 2002, just like you had your moments of trying to find out what's important for you. My journey started with a practice called Vipassana or mindfulness meditation. But what we do is we sit for hours and hours without moving. And you try to understand what's happening in the body and mind. But as I would sit long hours, my body would get restless, which is very common. But I could sit sometimes 1 hour, 2 hours, but if it was more than 2, 3 hours, then my body would just get restless. And I noticed there was a strong urge to move the body and literally dance because my dad used to dance, my mother used to dance, and I had stopped dancing when I had become a teenager. So around the age of 40, just before I turned 40, I actually Googled and said dance, just like you were doing. On YouTube, I was looking for dance with no steps. And sure enough, the dance form came up. It's called Five Rhythms. And then I found a teacher actually close to the Google headquarters in Mountain View. So I went
Oh,
there.
in California.
Yeah, in California, in near San Francisco. So I went to the studio. It was a flexed basketball gym, and they actually practice dance with no steps, which means you just let your body move. So I started, and I've never stopped. That was the year 2003. And what I do is wherever I go, like when I was in Chihuahua in Mexico, I learned the folklore style of dancing. And then along with that, I learned the basic salsa steps. And for a few weeks, there was no quarantine. There was no, we had not heard about what do you call coronavirus in Mexico. So I started learning the folklore dances and the basic salsa and all that stuff. If nothing else, we would play to Calleita and all the fun music. So it was our lambada, Kaoma lambada. So it was really amazing. So I've been learning dance wherever I go. I've traveled to more than 12 countries and danced wherever I go. And it's very deeply spiritual for me. It's a practice
Yes.
where I feel my heart opens up. And by learning dance in different countries, I learn about the culture, music and dance and food and everything together.
I hope that you don't think that calladita is part of our
No,
essential culture.
no. Kaya is more the modern teenage thing, and I know you're like Juan Alvarez. Is that right? The more classic singers.
Yes, more classic.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think for some reason dance, moving your body brings a certain joy and like
exactly.
freedom, and you kind of just let go, and you come in contact with the body feeling instead of being in the mind so much.
And also, I mean, each culture, each tribe has their own signature dances, and
Yeah.
so understanding that gives a feeling of how they feel in their body. And as you know, most of communication, more than 70% is nonverbal. So once you understand the movement of a culture, you understand how they feel, how they connect with each other. Is it aweo or is it, that gentleness? So understanding that is very key to understanding culture, I feel more than even the
Yeah.
language. I learned Espanol later, but first I tried to pick up it's much easier to pick up the steps and the moves.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
English, we say, I'm moved by this, I feel moved by this culture. So actually, it's like,
Yeah.
how does the Mexican move? What is lambada? What is salsa? What is folklore? So I found that a very effective way of understanding people.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you one thing. Today I read that is what was the name? It's like a special day in India where people fast. Do you know what it might be called?
We have so many of those special days. There's
uh,
always something special. There's always some festival going on. Are you
okay, I have it right here.
Uh-huh.
Give me 1 second. It's
Yeah.
called um, it's called Ekradashi.
Ekradashi. Yeah. That's a big festival that's coming up. Yeah. So it's the
So what
11th.
is it?
Is the 11th day of the lunar cycle. So when the moon is growing, so we just had what is it called? We had a festival of Ganesha, the elephant god. So
Ganesha.
that was on the
Mhm.
fourth day of the moon. Every festival in India, practically every festival, goes by the lunar calendar. So the
Wow,
fourth
that's
day
amazing.
is the festival of the birth of Ganesha. It's called Ganesh Chaturthi, which means the fourth day after the new moon. So the 11th day is called Ekradashi, what you just mentioned. So most often people fast on that day. They won't eat, at least they won't have the lunch. And it's just a way of, it's like now we know more that fasting can be therapeutic, not just physically, but also spiritually. So you feel hunger, you feel a little bit of deprivation, then you get used to that. You get used to this discipline where you allow the body to let go. And sometimes somebody may feel very hungry, and then they're reminded of all the hunger that is in the world and the deprivation. Then you start saying, oh my God, I'm voluntarily not eating, but look at all those other people who cannot eat. So it builds compassion also. But most often people use it also as a fasting as a way of cleansing the body. I feel it's
Yeah.
cleansing the body and cleansing the mind together. So
Yeah.
Ekradashi is a very common day for fasting, the 11th day
Yeah.
after the new moon.
And is there particular deity that they worship or have their mind on during this day?
So usually, since you're asking that question, usually every person decides who they consider as their favorite deity.
Okay.
It's called Ishta Devata, the one that you're closest to. And often they will pray to that god or to that particular chant. Like for Ganesha, it will be Om Gan Ganapataye Namaha, or like
Yeah.
Gayatri Mantra, Om Bhurvaha Swaha. So everybody selects a deity of their choice and may sing to that deity. Also, there are festivals like the birth of Ganesha, or before that, we had the birth of Krishna. So we would chant to that particular deity and we'll have offerings to that deity. If you saw my Facebook, one of my friends made 56 different dishes and offered it to Ganesha. 56. And their friends brought in more, so it became like 76 different dishes for Ganesha. So of course it's an offering, but then it's shared among everybody. It's like, you know.
That's why he has a tummy, Ganesha.
Exactly. Yeah. So he gets overfed.
Yes.
Yeah, so there are
Okay.
all these stories and jokes, but and the path of devotion in India, or also called bhakti, is about sharing and it's about love. And especially those who really feel that they have a relationship with an image of God. So it's their devotion, it's their connection with God. There are many other ways also. Alan Watts is a great author and he describes a lot of these things in great detail. Because,
Yes.
for example, in Christianity, again, you have two or three different paths to serve God. One is complete devotion and like, I'm here for you, Jesus. I'm here for you, Mary, and
Bhakti.
just complete surrender. So that's the path of love. But then there's also serving God's children. So you go and serve the poor, you go and serve the people who don't have enough. There's also the
That would
fasting.
be like, it's interesting because they parallel, all
Yes,
religions parallel. So
yes,
that would
yes.
be like in India, like
Karma,
karma
karma
yoga.
yoga. Yes, yes.
Okay.
So the path of devotion and just like really bowing down and surrender is like bhakti yoga. And serving the poor, serving others is karma yoga, which is the path of serving. And Hanuman, the monkey god, is considered the emblem or the deity for that. Krishna is
Ah,
for bhakti or devotion. And again, people can choose whichever god they want. There's also the knowledge, the path of wisdom, which is like Bible study group, the way we have it in Christianity. Likewise, we have people reading the Bhagavad Gita, or maybe even listening to Alan Watts, or listening to Sadhguru. So all those are valid ways of the path of knowledge or the
Jnana,
path of wisdom.
no?
Jnana, yes,
Jnana.
Jnana Yoga.
It, it's so interesting to me. I really appreciate learning about this well, ancient wisdom, because what, yoga has been here thousands of years, 3, 4, maybe 5,000 years old.
Yoga about 2,500 years. Yeah. There are many
pretty old.
other scriptures that are they're much older. Even if you look at Judaism, for example, the Abraham and the Old Testament, I think it could be as old as 4,000 years. So a lot of these
Yeah.
scriptures go a few thousand years ago. And yet, in some form or fashion, we've continued it, which is very interesting.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And I think today, in today's world, I think there is a wisdom to be found in also looking at the past and learning about these ancient cultures, because I don't know, the more that I read this, it's very interesting. I read, do you know about the yugas? I think in India
Yeah,
they call them the yugas.
yeah,
Yeah, they're saying that evolution is not in a linear fashion, it's cyclical. And
yeah,
I haven't looked too much into it, but if you take a look at the archaeological sites and the ancient ruins, it shows by itself that these people had great knowledge of technology to align those pyramids in astronomically in a precise way, and they had spiritual wisdom. So I think it shows uh, that it's in everything in nature I see it's cyclical. You know, it's the planets go around the sun in a circular
mhm,
motion. They go in circles in their own
sometimes,
axis,
yeah,
and then the sound is like a wave. All sounds vibrations is wave, so it goes up and down, it ascends, declines. So this, to me, when I read about the yugas, it made a lot of sense that there are periods of um I don't know, like enlightenment and the
yeah,
declination of consciousness
decline,
and
exactly,
decline.
exactly,
So, to me,
yeah.
it's very interesting, and I think we can learn a lot about the past to better face the present, if you could say like that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest essential differences between the Abrahamic thought versus the religions or thought in Asia. And definitely in India, there's a belief in cyclicality of time. So
Yeah,
you go through the same cycle of like, ups and downs. It's widely believed that we don't just go up, that we go up and then we go down and up and down. And finally, you don't find God over there, you find God in here. So that's a very strong belief.
beautiful.
Now, but even in Christianity, you hear about the kingdom of God is within you.
Yeah,
But again, there are the heavens above and the hell below. So there's a concept of linearity also. And in
yes,
a Christian thought, you do see, for example, the day of judgment, and the world got created. And then there's a progression towards the day of judgment. So, in interestingly, in Asian philosophies, definitely in Indian philosophies, there's no day of judgment. It's you keep on learning and realizing and learning and realizing. And at some point, you may say, okay, I'm done, so I'm just going to not take on a body. So, yeah, there are various beliefs, but that's a very common belief in reincarnation or continuation of life through death. And
it's a
I guess
mystery.
the nearest anybody would have experienced that is when they go to deep sleep and they get up refreshed. So that's the
Yeah,
cyclicity. Yeah, so it's
yeah.
believed that we
Uh,
go through these phases.
oh, yeah. That's so interesting. I think deep sleep, it's kind of like a preparation for death, because we are, where do we go when we're deep sleep? We cease to exist. Like the mind is, the ego is not there, but then we wake up again, and then we die again, and then we wake up again. I think
Yeah,
that's a natural thing. It shows us how things are in a deeper sense, maybe.
there's actually an excellent Buddhist textbook on this idea. It's called Sleeping, Dreaming, and Dying. So it's about different states of awake, being you're awake, then you feel dreamy and you go to sleep, then you start dreaming things, and then at some point you go into deep sleep and you're not even thinking. And it's like a mini death. You're not
Yes.
there. Or the ego is not very active. But if a mosquito bites, then you'll get up, But
Yeah.
otherwise, you're just not there. You're just in this deep slumber, and sometimes we don't even dream. Every night, there are times when we dream, and then there are times when we are in complete deep sleep. So, yeah, it's almost if we can get ready and observe the states of the mind, we observe living and dying. That reminds me,
Yeah.
we're in the middle of this pandemic, at least in our lifetime. This could very well be the biggest one. And there's so much fear. How is everybody doing in the neighborhood, in Colorines?
You know, everyone is different, and so everyone
Hmm.
um, takes this pandemic and process it differently. But at least the people that you met, like Ro, Tonyo, myself, their parents, um, I don't know if it's wrong of us, but we don't worry about it too much. We try to take care of ourselves and, stay healthy and then be respectful with other people. If we are around other people, and in case we need to go outside, wear the mask and all that things that you need to do. But I haven't given it much thought. I know it's there, but I don't know. I don't put much of my attention into the news of what's happening. So I actually don't know how many cases are there here in Mexico or in the world.
Yeah, yeah. And if we go back to what you were talking about earlier, which is the idea of yoga, there is a millennium, there's an end of one yoga and a beginning of another. So the pandemic was believed to
Yeah.
be one of those. Of course, nobody could predict the
Oh
date.
yeah.
It was believed that it would be near 2012, 12, if you remember, 12, 12, 12. December 12,
Yeah.
2012 was supposed to be a big
The
day.
Mayan calendar.
Nothing happened at that time. And here we are 8 years later. And
Yeah.
what is believed is that something like a
I,
pandemic has the
uh-huh.
capacity to change global consciousness. It has the potential of
I hope
changing the
that
way
it.
we think.
You know what? Actually, to me, it makes sense because just being here in this neighborhood, seeing how my friends are changing, my family, myself, just with my own experience, I think definitely a lot of, maybe not economically, that's not a positive thing, that it's the economy is really going down, but I think internally people are beginning to open up to different possibilities of life. So I think that's a good thing. It's like a hidden gift that came with the pandemic. And that what you were saying about the 2012, the end of the world, or the end of the Mayan calendar. Um, I think it was, I don't know if we were with you, me and Diego. Diego was talking about how the the Mayan calendar was actually referring to 2020, but there was an 8 year um, um, mistake because of the Gregorian calendar was different to the Mayan calendar. So who knows? I would have to look into it, but yeah, it could be. And supposedly, in the Yuga context, we're entering the Dwapara Yuga, no? We came out
Yes,
from the Kali Yuga to the Dwapara Yuga,
there's a
or
wide
something.
belief that we'll come out of Kali Yuga and going to, yeah, Satya Yuga and all that. But only time will tell. Is it really true that human consciousness will shift away from corruption and shortcuts and using quick money? Will it shift from there to being honest and truthful and you know good? What is right? What is wrong? Well defined. Right now, it's all ambiguous. Right now, the difference between true and false, right and wrong, there's a lot of ambiguity, and we often tend to rationalize what I'm doing is the right thing, no matter what I'm doing. So I'll do something and then I'll make a story around it. So that's the characteristics of Kali Yuga. But if you were to actually change to what is called a Satya Yuga, then you have a definite idea of right and a definite idea of wrong. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if something like that happens. Oh my God, here's Pedrito. Pedrito, ¿cómo estás? My God, did you
Dile
recognize
hola.
me? My
I
hair
think
is
so.
short, must be confusing.
Yeah, he can't hear you because I have earplugs.
Ah,
¿Te acuerdas de Shankar? ¿Te acuerdas que estaba aquí? Sí, he
¿cómo
recognized you.
estás?
He's saying, he's pointing to the house that you lived
Oh,
in.
oh my God, he remembers very well.
¿Te acuerdas? Está ahorita en la India. He's in India.
Muy bien, muy bien.
There
That
he is. You
reminds
got to see
me,
him.
you guys are all such great artists. I would love to have a look at all the art you have created, and Ernesto and Pedrito. Is it possible you can
Okay,
show us around?
sure. Yes, I will show you around. I have to put Mia. She's laying on me, so I'm gonna
Oh
put
my
her
God.
aside.
Okay.
So I think Pedrito did that.
Wow. That's Pedrito's painting, huh?
I think so. He's done many, so they're all over the house.
Wow, that's so abstract. That's wonderful.
And then um, I my mom made these I don't know what to call them because she experiments. I mean, they're a painting, but she experiments with oil, and then she puts some layers of how do you say this in English? Wax. You know wax?
Uh-huh.
So it has like different layers.
Wow.
So this is my mom's, and that one. I mean, she says they're experimentation. So
Uh-huh. Wax. Wow, I had no idea.
and Ernesto's and the paintings that I've done, they're upstairs, but no internet gets there. So I don't know how I can show you that. But you've seen them, no?
I've seen them. I've seen them. They're lovely. After I left, how has life been? What have you been up to after I left Cuernavaca? It's been about 2 months. Did you go
Yes,
anywhere, do
2 months.
anything?
Yes, I went to, after you left, I went to Veracruz. And Veracruz is a state in Mexico where that's where the Spanish originally arrived to when they came to the Americas. And that's where one of the first or maybe the first Mesoamerican big culture, the Olmecs, emerged in that area. So I was very happy to go there, although I didn't get the chance to go to the archaeological sites because they're closed because of the pandemic. And so I went to a course that was about permaculture or agriculture, but in a sustainable way. So sustainability. And it was nice. It was very fun. I really enjoyed. I learned a lot.
Oh, oh. There's so much culture and there's so much rich, so many things to see. Tepoztlan, is that the place where you guys are planning to move?
Yeah, Tepoztlan is in Morelos, in the state of Morelos.
In Morelos. And also there are these Aztec and ruins of different, the pyramids. There's one in Mexico City, Ciudad de Mexico. It's amazing.
Yeah, Teotihuacan, which, I mean, there are many. It's crazy, Shankar. Here, even in Mexico, we don't know that much about the predecessors of the people, the humans that lived before us.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were the Aztecs, or the Mexicas, you could say, that they were the last civilization before the Spanish came. And then the most famous are the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Olmecs, but there is also many others, the Zapotecs, the Chichimecs. I don't know if that's how you say it in English, but it's so diverse and there is a lot of mysteries. And I think, again, wisdom to be found in some of the ways of life that they have.
Yeah, yeah. And when I was in Chihuahua, there were the tribes, like in the Raramuris. Amazing, amazing. The Raramuris who keep running hundreds of miles at a time. Amazing.
Yeah,
And I got to see a couple of tribes. The Raramuri stood out.
yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask you, Shankar, if I go to India and I decide to do a road trip from the south, from Kere,
Kerala. Yeah.
Kere, Kerala,
Kerala.
to your home in Gujarat, how long would it
Gujarat.
take?
Oh, it depends. Distance wise, it's not a whole lot, but it may be like, I don't know, my best guess is it could be like going from Mexico City to San Diego or something like that. But it will take you longer because the roads are not exactly the same way as in California or in Baja or in Mexico. But at
I
the
mean, the
same
roads in
time,
Mexico are pretty bad. In Mexico.
in some areas, yeah. Well, what you will get is that you'll go through many different cultures. So Kerala has a lot of ocean and a lot of saltwater lakes, freshwater lakes, and then from there you come to Karnataka, where Bangalore and other cities are there. And if you go on the coast, you'll see amazing coastline. And then if you go to Bombay and other cities, a completely different culture. Bombay, the
Mm.
state is Maharashtra. And then you go further, then you come to Gujarat, where I am. And that's another culture. So you'll at least go through 5 major cultural and linguistic groups. The
Oh,
language
I
will
like that.
change. The language
I
will
like
change a
that.
lot.
Yeah, and if you keep going, I'm guessing again, if you go to Punjab, if you stay on the west, Punjabi
Yeah,
in the very north,
yeah,
or
yeah.
if you go east, northeast, well, you pass through Sri Lanka, no,
West Bengal,
through West
Nepal.
Bengal, yeah, near the Himalayas. I think
Well,
India, you could take like a whole year.
easily, easily. And it's the same like in Mexico, for example. Chihuahua was in the middle of the desert land, completely different. The vegetation is different, the weather patterns are different. I have only seen like Jalisco on the ocean, which are like Puerto Vallarta or Ensenada. They are on the coast, on the west coast, on the Pacific Ocean. And then I saw Ciudad de Mexico and of course Cuernavaca, Morelos. So very different culturally, even like Cuernavaca is the city of eternal spring. So the weather stays almost the same throughout the year. Whereas Chihuahua is a desert land, so you're going to get extreme heat and extreme cold. And summer and winter are very different from each other. And I think Ciudad de Mexico has got some seasons, right?
Uh, I mean, right now it's the rainy season in this
Mm.
whole area, so it's very similar weather to Cuernavaca, just that maybe it rains more and it's more cloudy, and also maybe due to the pollution that there is in the city.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's basically relatively warm throughout the year, and maybe in the north of Mexico City it starts to get more cold, but it's around the same,
Oh, okay. Similar to Cuernavaca
similar,
and to Morelos. Very interesting.
similar. Yeah.
In the thing that makes it easier to go around Mexico is the language. So Espanol is spoken practically everywhere with some variations, but it's easier to understand Espanol. Whereas in India, Hindi is spoken in about half or a little more than half the country. But there are areas
Mm.
where Hindi is not spoken, or if you go through villages, so you're in for some surprises. So many
Yeah.
places in the south, for example, people will understand basic English, and Hindi is spoken practically anywhere in the north, the center, and all that.
Yes.
But if you go to the east, like Bengal, then the languages are totally different. You have got tribal languages also further up there. And in Gujarat, for example, yeah, people understand Hindi. So more than half the country, people understand Hindi quite well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's many tongues or many languages in India, no?
Yeah, we have like 30 official languages.
Yeah, here in Mexico Spanish, but Mexico lost a lot of its native tongues with the Spanish conquest. Although there's still some people in some towns or regions that still speak a native tongue.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's mostly lost. Or not really. There is people, but it's not like India that has, you said 30 official languages. It's not like that.
Yeah. So such a great thing to reconnect after all this time and to again have this cultural exchange. I missed that a lot. 3 months I got
Yes.
addicted to Mexico and I did not want to come back.
Yes.
Honestly,
And
I
how was
came.
your return?
It was
How
quite
did you
smooth.
feel?
It was quite smooth. It was like everybody was apprehensive because there was that fear of what's going to come. But every airline, KLM, all the way to Amsterdam, and then from there, Air India going to New Delhi, and then they did a lot of checkup, a lot of testing, many questions. Then I told them that my wife was not doing well, so they allowed me to go take the flight from Delhi to Gujarat, and all that went very well. And I have to say that every government is taking it seriously, although they may say different things to each other or to the people because they don't want to scare people in some cases. But
Yeah.
when it comes to international flights, everybody's taking it seriously, and everybody was like super careful. But they were not overly paranoid, they were just careful. So I would, if you want to travel internationally, now is not a bad time, as long as the other country allows you to come in. I'm
Of
planning
course.
to go to Africa, maybe
Yeah.
within a month or two, to Kenya,
It's amazing.
Tanzania, and all the way Eastern Africa, all the way to South Africa, because I feel that all of us, our origin of human species started in Africa, and I want to learn all about the different tribes, different kinds of music, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, there's so much dance, music.
You would dance a lot there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yes, there's challenges, there are poverty and all that stuff, but also there's so much of culture.
Yeah.
Everybody in my family has been to Africa. I have not, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. Oh, send me pictures when you're there.
Maybe you will join me there. It'll be so much fun to meet in Africa.
Wow. I would love to go to Africa. I would need to work a little bit more to save up and go, but I'm open. I'm open for that.
Mhm. Yeah, I've never been there, and it's my dream come true to go there. Just like it was my
Yeah.
dream to go to Mexico, because we had worked with so many Espanol people in
Yeah.
California, especially in San Francisco. Eduardo and Claudia and so many people, and also of course the people who helped build our house or rebuild our house, Rinaldo and Joaquin and Orlando and many others. So I was always curious to learn about Mexican culture. So I came on a 3 week trip and I ended up being there for 3 months. So,
Life is
so
funny.
it was funny. Yeah, exactly. And it was amazing, totally amazing to be able to share, to be able to talk about different things, to be able to compare and contrast life in Mexico versus life in the United States or Canada, which is again very different from the life in India and in other countries. So yeah, it was
Yes.
a great way of connecting as if we were friends forever.
Yes.
Talk of synchronicity.
Yeah. Yes. I think like the heart doesn't know barriers, time or cultural or age. So
Nothing matters.
if we connect from there, you feel at home, or you recognize.
Yep, yep. I'm getting sleepy now because it is late, but it's such a
Oh
joy
yeah,
to
I
be able to
forget.
reconnect. Yeah, I have no time.
Yeah, I forget you're in India.
It's actually only 10 o'clock, but I
But
get up
still,
early morning at 4 a.m. So I like to go
yeah, I
for walks.
understand. Okay,
But please stay in touch and we will reconnect. I'm hoping to reconnect with others like Rodrigo, Antonio, and hopefully Diego. We were like a gang of 5 or 6 of us, so much. So yeah, we need to reconnect.
sure enough. I'm here whenever you want to talk.
Sure, sure. Have a wonderful day, and I will upload the recording maybe to YouTube after editing a few things. And there's so
Okay.
much we can share and so much we can learn from each other.
Yes. Thank you, my friend.
Thank
Namaste.
you. Muchas gracias, amigo, and namaste. And please stay in touch. How do you say hasta la vista?
Hasta la vista.
Will
Take
be
care.
much. And to anybody
Say
interested
hello
in
to.
learning about Mexico, we are someday, once the pandemic is over, we're planning to get together in India and in Mexico and do a lot of video footage. We want to travel from the south all the way to the north in India and hopefully similar things in Mexico, travel to a lot of the tribal areas, and there's so much
Yes.
work to be done. Hopefully 2021 or 2022.
We'll see when life allows it. Yes.
Yes, yes, let's see. We cannot plan right now.
No.
Okay, thank you very
Okay,
much.
Shankar.
Muchas
Thank you.
gracias. Stay in touch,
Ciao.
please. Bye.
See. Bye.